YouTube, what the crap's going on? Heir of Carthage here, and I am back in Total War Rome 2. I think it's time for another faction focus, and I think this time on the list is Parthia. Just finished Nervii. I haven't done most of these here. Let's see, I still got to do Pontus, Egypt, Rome, Roxolani, Royal Scythia, Seleucid. I've done Sparta, and I need to do Suebi, and I've already done Syracuse, so not too many more. And then, of course, I intend to start the unit focus. Well, let's take a look at Parthia. Parthia is an interesting faction. Obviously, they're an eastern faction. They're a cav-heavy faction, but they do have access to a great number of skirmishers. Interesting spear infantry, definitely not powerful. And they do have access to a couple of melee infantry units too, albeit, again, not powerhouse units. And as you can see, for 730 you only get 36 attack, which is nothing special. They do have a better charge bonus than Roman infantry, though. But they wouldn't last too long in a fight, I don't think. They do have formation attack, though, so it'd be a handy unit. It wouldn't be super strong. But in any case, let's take a look at all their units. So, as far as generals, you have a choice between a noble horse archer and a royal cataphract. So a noble horse archer comes with 90 armor. It doesn't have a shield, though. Let's take a look here. No shield value. Because it's an archer unit, none of them do. It only has 125 range. It does have very solid damage. I almost kind of think they should make it more if you're going to pay this much. But it does have access to flaming shot, whistling shot, heavy shot. It's resistant to fatigue. It can fire while moving, of course. It has Parthian shot, and it's resistant to heat. So quite a few different things. And then, of course, you have access to royal cataphracts. Now, royal cataphracts are still a very powerful unit with their charge bonus, their armor, and health. But melee cav has improved a great deal in the latest patch. It's not to say that they can just go head-to-head with Royal Cataphracts and win, because Royal Cataphracts are still devastating on a charge. But if you're not getting a good proper charge on a melee cav, or one of them swamps you from behind, the Royal Cataphracts could be in trouble, because they are most certainly a shock cav unit. Let's take a look at their melee infantry. Hillmen, not much of an attack or weapon damage, but what weapon damage they do have is split half and half between armor piercing and regular. They do have a bonus versus infantry, a poor charge bonus. I almost think they should raise that. Their melee defense and everything else is poor, as you would expect for a unit at 220 cost. We just talked about the Parthian swordsman. Low attack, good damage, good bonus versus infantry, good charge, decent defense, decent armor, not good health, and decent base morale. So when I say not good, I mean in comparison to relatively similar priced units. Like you can look at a 700 denarii unit of Roman legionary cohort. It has a straight up 47 attack, which is a lot higher. It does have less weapon damage and less charge. But the melee defense, let's see, the melee defense in the Parthian swordsman higher. But if you take a look at armor, health, and base morale, which is 65, 45, 60, on the Roman unit it is 75, 50, 55. Surprisingly, the Parthian unit actually has slightly higher base morale. Interesting. Well, in any case, you have the Eastern Spearmen, Persian Hoplites, and Mercenary Hoplites for Spearmen. Eastern Spearmen, it says cheap spearmen are not necessarily poor spearmen. I disagree. These guys are poor spearmen. They don't have cavalry counter tactics, and they are just worthless. Worthless. The only thing they're good for is sacrificial units. Get them in the way of something else to eat up their charge. They are not worth anything. They're going to lose in the fight to pretty much anything except for maybe skirmishers, and they might lose to some of those. Just keep that in mind. Persian Hoplites. They're a lot better than Eastern Spearmen, but they're not good. They do come with solid armor and decent shield strength, I believe. If we take a look, yeah, good shield value, decent armor. Not so good health, and the base morale is also low. But at 440, you kind of get what you pay for. Not bad for that price. But again, don't expect these guys to be handling a lot of melee cav. Even though they have a bonus versus large, that low health and morale is going to make them susceptible to cav charges. Mercenary Hoplites are a better unit, but their weapon damage is not very good, and once again, they're just going to suffer around cav. I mean, they can help pull down cav in the extended melee, but you got to be careful. Is it going to be worth your while? As far as skirmishers go, they have everything from Persian light archers, Eastern javelinmen, Eastern slingers, Parthian foot archers, mercenary peltists, and elite Persian archers. So let's walk through some of these units. Persian light archers are, just a very cheap archer unit, but for the price, you get a very high missile damage and long range. So for the price, you get a lot out of these guys, quite a lot. And they also have whistling shot, which is pretty demoralizing. It takes down the melee attack and shots per minute, but it also takes down your damage. You won't do any damage with it. It's just used to demoralize enemy troops right before you charge. Eastern javelinmen have a pretty sturdy missile attack for their price. Going to be somewhat vulnerable to missiles because they're not very well armored and they don't have a very good shield. So they will be good at taking down elephants and other units. If you keep them behind a line of maybe Persian hoplites or protected by cataphracts, they can be useful. Eastern Slingers, you get quite a bit of bang for your buck. At 380 and 20 attack, they're pretty sturdy, pretty darn good unit overall. Parthian foot archers have as high attack as Cretan archers and have the same range, but for 200 less denarii. They do have less health, armor, and morale, but consider the fact that you get the same attack. It may not be the same shots per minute, though. That would be an interesting question to answer. And I'm honestly not certain what the answer to that question is at the moment. So let's take a look at a Cretan archer and see. Yeah, 7 shots per minute on the Cretan archer. The Parthian foot archer is only 6. So slow reload, but a good attack. They don't have access to heavy shot, though, either. Mercenary peltists are going to have more armor than your Eastern javelin men, so they would be better at resisting missile fire. Elite Persian archers, not quite as high attack as a Parthian foot archer, but if you look here, these guys have 28 melee attack, 32 weapon damage. They have a spear that they can fight off cavalry with. Would I sit there and stand them against cavalry? Most likely not. But with heavy shot and the spear and the ability to defend themselves, this is possibly a versatile archer unit if you can get it into heavy shot and start hitting units with it. It is expensive though, so you need to be careful about how you use it. When it comes to shock cavalry, they have a great offering. They have everything from these super cheap Sarmatian lancers, which are not going to be great, but hey, they can deliver a decent charge at a decent price. They have low armor, low melee defense, so that's all they're going to be good for is charging into skirmishers or keeping a more expensive cav unit busy, maybe delivering a rear charge, and even then they're not going to be real punishing. From there you jump up straight to Eastern cataphracts, where it's a pretty punishing unit for the price on the charge, but again, be careful that you don't get these guys wrapped up with melee cav without having gotten a proper charge. Camel cataphracts, or as a lot of people like to call them, camelfracts, a very fun unit here. It scares normal horsemen, it acts also as a shock cavalry, and it also has sturdy armor, health, and base morale. It can be a very good unit to support in a cav fight because it will scare enemy horses, on top of being pretty powerful. A Royal Cataphract is a lot of money. It's a very powerful shock cav unit, probably the most powerful in the game. Next to a Saka Cataphract. I think a Saka Cataphract would be more powerful. But in any case, it is a strong cav unit, but again, best on the charge, so make sure to be using it on the charge and not let it get wrapped up in a melee fight where it shouldn't be. Camel Spearmen are a great cheap unit for chasing down enemy skirmishers. It's also going to be good for scaring enemy horses in a cav fight. If you look right here, it says scare horses. Just get it close to an enemy cav fighter, put it into the back of an enemy cav, and it can be helpful. Median cav is a nice sturdy melee cav for the price. It's nothing wildly fantastic, but it's sturdy. It can provide a decent fight against either sword units that are on foot, or it can support in a cav fight as long as it's not getting directly charged by a shock cav. Noble Blood cav is a fairly powerful cav for the price. I wouldn't say it's wildly powerful, but with the 80 health and 60 armor, these guys are going to have some decent staying power in a cav fight. So yeah, you can see that you get a decent jump in armor there, 10 armor and 6 more attack than a Median cav. So, again, it has its uses, and its use is going to be best against sword units or supporting a cav fight that a shock cav unit has already started. As far as missile cavalry, Parthia has access to a lot. They have horse skirmishers on the bottom end here that have a pretty good missile attack, very limited ammunition though, but these guys could be helpful with taking down elephants, especially now that all of them have Parthian shot. You have mercenary Sarmatian horse archers, which are, a very cheap horse archer unit, and this is the one that most people prefer because of its price. And it has pretty good attack for the price. Obviously, it's not any good in melee whatsoever. Camel archers are good for, again, scaring enemy cav. Parthian horse archers are going to have high attack and a little bit better health and morale, it looks like, but, I don't think that makes them worth it, so I would steer clear of these guys. The armored horse archers can be useful because they can resist skirmish fire a little more and still function as a horse archer, and they have better melee attack. The noble horse archers have a very solid melee attack and armor and health on top of being a horse archer, but are quite expensive, so you just need to figure out which horse archer is best going to suit your need, and then you can choose accordingly. They have Indian war elephants, and these guys are, of course, going to be great at stomping down enemy infantry or helping you dominate a cav fight with your cataphracts. That would be what I would consider the best unit for them. They are expensive, and they are not armored, so they will die easier than the armored variety. It's not to say that they won't be strong, but they can die easier. Anyway, that's pretty much a rundown of Parthia as a faction. Let's go grab them in a quick match real quick. That's rather redundant there. Well done. Oh, good. It was actually a quick match tonight, not a slow match. Let's see, though, if it's a game that works. USSR clan, huh? Seems like I remember these guys from Rome 1. Don't know if it's the same clan, though. The map is Stonehenge, which I'm not sure is going to be the best for Parthia, but we'll try it. Alright, I'm not really great at using Parthia. I've won a few battles with them. They typically require a lot of micromanagement, which is why they're not necessarily the best for me. Change my general to a Royal Cataphract. If he is indeed sticking with Rome, horse archers will only be good against Rome if I could get rid of potential slingers. And I'm just not certain that I want to try and do that. I mean, he would probably come expecting horse archers. I think what I'm going to do instead is employ a slightly different strategy. I want to bring some Eastern Cataphracts to try and help dominate a cav fight. A couple of light horse for speed. And I'll throw in... Actually, let's throw in Camel Spearmen for the scare effect as well. And then let's throw in some Median Cav. I always switch to Macedon. This will be quite different, actually. Let's rethink. Still want the Cav to help dominate a fight, and the Camels to scare. A unit of Elephants to mop up heavy infantry as needed. It'd be fun to try some bows here. He's no doubt going to bring slingers. I could bring a couple of Eastern slingers to run up front to distract his own. Because my bows might do better against not so heavily armored, say like pikemen, if he decides to bring pikemen, which he may. Wonder if elite Persian archers would be a good idea. Too expensive, I'm not sure I'd get enough of them. I might just tank on Persian light archers, get a lot of them, and then I think I'll fill out the rest of my army with Persian hoplites. So my plan basically is to make sure that he can't easily dominate my cav, which he cannot with the combination of cataphracts and elephants. My slingers will help keep his own slingers from being able to just fire straight at my archers. My infantry is just a token force as needed. So let's see if this works. May or may not. I don't really know what to expect. I'm going to say good luck, have fun. And I am ready as well. I don't know what this map is like entirely. I mean, it shows it being lightly forested, and I hope that I don't start down here and he starts up here, but we'll just have to see what happens. So let's start the battle. My opponent has said good luck, have fun as well. This will be an interesting map. Or a match. I don't remember any specific USSR guys, but I know that I've played some pretty serious players from their clan in the past, if it's the same one. I'm not familiar with clans, so it could be completely different. You all might think I'm crazy. Looks like I get to start right next to Stonehenge. Parthians in front of Stonehenge. How's that for an oddity? Some Indian elephants right in front of Stonehenge might make for a nice, or actually some cataphracts in front of Stonehenge will make for a cool picture. I'll, yeah, that'll be my screenshot before I, start the battle. Okay, I am gonna have to be careful and actually micro to keep my archer units alive. Okay, I'm gonna spread my slingers really thin to hopefully be able to draw in more enemy fire. Be interesting to see what type of army my opponent chooses. Don't want to skirmish with my archers.
What are your orders?
Or actually, I said I want my general right here for a photo op.
Armored horsemen. What are your orders?
And put a camel spearman on either flank. I'm gonna keep these units together along with my elephants.
Keep this formation.
Okay, as soon as the battle starts, I just want to hit a snapshot real quick.
Well, no doubt. Discard them. Such base fears should plague
Okay.
the hearts of our foes.
Let's see what my opponent's brought. Ooh, he's got a lot of mercenary Cretan archers backed up by cheap pikemen. So he can match my skirmishing threat. This is actually going to be quite challenging. That'll be fun. I'm going to try and get him to move this direction where there's more open ground for us to both skirmish on. Actually, he's moving this way, but I don't want him... If I take the skirmishing match here, my opponent's going to have forest here and here to help protect his men. And that's not something that I want, so... Of course, if I move over here, he may want to take this forest, but that's okay. I can just kind of keep pulling him away from the forest to have our skirmishing fight.
They're ready. Quickly now.
Royal cataphracts! Riders advance!
I think at this point he'll try and use this forest for cover. So what I'll do is try and set up here and try and get his skirmishers drawn out here in the open.
What are your orders? Double time.
Cataphracts!
I feel comfortable in the cavalry department. He does have one Aspis cav here, which I would want to attack with elephants in order to get rid of. He's got another in the back. A Royal Peltis for a general. My elephants could easily raffle stomp a Royal Peltis. I really just need to win the skirmishing fight here, which I think I'm capable of doing, but Cretan archers are powerful. They are a powerful unit.
Camels, spearmen!
I'm gonna get my camel spearmen towards the fronts to maybe harass his Cretan archers. We're both still out of range of each other. My men are moving into position now.
Slingers!
I think that it's going to be my eastern slingers to help give me an edge here,
My lord, at me.
but I don't know that I'm going to have an edge. It's going to depend on whether or not I can outplay my opponent.
Riders! At the double!
Okay. Let's see if he decides to push forward and begin skirmishing with me. I kind of... yeah, he's going to push forward. If he gets within range, I'm going to go ahead and use precision shot.
Spearmen ready for orders!
I'm going to actually just pull back my Persian hoplites just a smidge. I'm going to go ahead and put my guys back onto skirmish mode. I kind of want him to charge his cav forward.
Cataphracts! Cataphracts!
Advance at speed. Heavy cavalry.
Steady your aim!
Find your target.
I'm going to try and chase his archers back to get my men more shots.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
He's going to try and get into the middle of my skirmishers as well.
Heavy horse.
I'm going to get some kills on this Aspis cav.
Our general is under attack.
My lord. Forward. Loose.
Camels, spearmen!
Our men flee the
Okay, got my
field of
elephants
battle.
into his Thessalian cav
This
here.
is a shameful display.
I can now start pushing his flank. No, I can't. He's got more cav all over me right here. Got to get my men to safety. It's a somewhat promising start for me. I wouldn't say great. He does have some cav around me right here, and I've lost some skirmishers.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Awaiting orders.
Okay, I am going to kill his cav here, and his Thessalian cav there will die, and I can now push through to his skirmishers. He's actually left a gap for me right here. So I'm going to take advantage of this gap. And at the moment, I'm just going to pull these guys back. Ah, the guys got caught up here. Come on. Push through. He's got an Aspis Cav that came back from routing. I'm going to have to keep it on. Come on! Seriously? Come on. Come on. Good boy. Boy, I had to force that one. Talk about spam clicking. I'm going to bring my other cataphract unit back here. If I can get rid of his men here, that would be good. Okay, I am going to be able to get rid of his skirmish units. I'm going to lose my 2 cataphracts here, but it will essentially have gotten rid of his cav.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful.
Okay, all I gotta do is just pull my skirmishers back now this way. He's got an Aspis Cav into me here, but I should be able to kill it before it's able to do too terribly much damage. Okay, he's just running away from my cataphracts over here. Oh, he got a flaming shot into my elephants. Which is not good. It's actually going to rout a whole bunch of my men. That was actually rather clever. Okay, look, he's got his pikes turned around here. I'm going to pull these cataphracts out here, pull these spears away from this fight. At this point, I need to get rid of his archers. I'm going to pull my skirmishers back. His archers are going to be able to kill my my elephant unit, which is actually pretty critical to my success at this point.
Men of Parthia! For glory!
I'm going to chase into his skirmishers here with my spear units. My elephants are still running amok, and running amok all over my own men.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Okay. This match is not over yet. But it's going to be challenging for me because my opponent can pike box. Okay. I've got my units free here. My elephants are still berserking, which is killing my own men. Really wish they'd stop, as it's been a few seconds since they've been under fire.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Just lost another unit. Please stop berserking. Please. Come on. And why not go berserk on his men? Wow, my elephants are just really still running all over my men. That is quite the berserk. Okay, they're safe. I can now pull them back. Alright, so my opponent has the skirmishing and infantry advantage at the moment. I have elephants, and I am not out of skirmishing options. I would say that I hold the cav advantage. He has 2 depleted Aspis Cav. The problem is I don't really have enough infantry, or enough skirmishers to entirely deal with his infantry. He's probably used more of his skirmishing ammo. I'm going to pull my skirmishers back together to duke it out with him. And I'm going to pull my spears in front of my skirmishers. I'm going to keep my elephants at a safe distance from his archers.
Units have been discovered.
And I'm going to split my cataphracts. I'm going to take my eastern cataphract this other flank.
Our orders! Advance at speed!
I'm going to focus fire on some of his Cretan archers. Let's actually hit the weakest unit first. Not getting too much damage done on these Cretan archers, actually, because of the forest, but that means that his shots may not be overwhelmingly effective either. But his are probably more effective because they're Cretan archers. I am getting one route started.
We await your orders.
I'm going to try and push back his Aspis Cav here.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display. For glory!
I'm gonna actually keep my Cav somewhat close to my men.
Royal to the front!
More elephants!
To the front!
Persian archers!
Gonna fall back.
Royal to the front! We understand!
Okay, I got a good charge into his Aspis Cav here. Should be able to drop some of them. I'm gonna try and come support this fight, get away from his men here. Out here, he's gonna try and keep his archers safe so that he can use them to flame my elephants. Let's see if we can start sneaking some infantry around. I'm gonna try and split up.
Spearmen ready for order!
Just see if I can hold him off here.
Men of Persia!
Persian hoplites! Spearmen
Just make some gaps.
armor horsemen! Quickly now! Advance!
Pull back from those guys.
Oi!
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful
Yeah, I don't
display.
think I'm gonna be able to pull it off. It was a fun thought.
Our general has fallen.
But now with my general dead and his archers able to fire on my elephants, it's pretty hopeless. My elephants are going to start dropping here any moment.
More elephants!
See if I can get into the flank of these weak pikemen. Not quite.
We are losing ground.
Alright, so he outplayed me here with the cheap infantry. I couldn't make it work. Since I wasn't able to gain a skirmishing advantage, I was unable to use my elephants, and my cav advantage didn't really gain me as much as I needed to really make a proper victory out of it. So, well done by my opponent, well done indeed. Hope you all enjoyed it, and that's going to be Parthia there. Parthia obviously suffers towards pike factions, and the reason being is you're going to have a hard time fighting their pikes. If you can get free with enough ammo, you can pull it off. If you can't, then you'll be in trouble. Part of me almost wishes that I would have spent my elephant money on more slingers to fight his Cretan archers, and that would have bought my my guys, I think, what I needed to get the job done. May have worked out better, may not have. Cretan archers are a powerful unit. They don't get used a whole lot, but they can definitely be formidable in certain circumstances. You can see that my guys just weren't able to get as many shots in, and the shots they did get in weren't as damaging. His Aspis Cav did fairly well for the cost, not really, kind of depends on what they killed. But then again, if you look at my cavalry, really none of them did very good either. I did take out most of his Thessalian Cav, but I mean that's not necessarily a great trade for these units here. So, yeah, it was just going to be tough for me because his infantry was cheaper than my own, but more effective, in the sense that it was more threatening to me. His skirmishers were fewer in number, more expensive, but able to deal more damage. And then I was able to kill his cavalry, but not entirely, which just led to a lot of issues. And I forgot his general was a royal peltist, not a hoplite. I kept thinking it was a hoplite. No wonder it plowed through my Persian hoplites. In any case, good game to my opponent. Hope you all enjoyed that one. Let's go back and talk about Parthia just a little more. So obviously, like I said, their weakness is going to be against pike factions. If you want to use them against pike factions properly, you have to be able to get to the late game with enough tools to pull an opponent out of a boxing formation and to give your cavalry the opportunity to charge in concert with your infantry, maybe keeping them busy on another side. Obviously, it's best if you can pick them to pieces with skirmishers. I think in this case it might actually have played out really well for me to bring some horse archers, come to think of it. Maybe I should have brought a main line of slingers because they're relatively cheap and effective versus archers, and had I brought horse archers at that point, I could have kept some of his cav busy trying to hunt them down, and that might have gained me some advantages, like maybe just gone heavier on cav, left out the infantry altogether, used my horse archers and slingers to pick apart both his skirmishers and infantry, and then my cav could have dominated his cav, and his spearmen wouldn't have been fast enough to catch up. That's one way to potentially roll it. Of course, it's all theoretical here, but like I said, good game to my opponent. It was a fun one. Taught me a few things to think about there. As far as factions, I think Parthia would be fun against. They're definitely fun to play against Rome. They're pretty strong against barbarian factions, really strong. They can possibly counter Bactria. Bactria is going to have more tools, though, at their disposal since they have better infantry and armored elephants. But, you know, they can always be a fun game against them. Same thing against Egypt. Egypt doesn't have armored elephants, so Bactria might be a fun match against them, but Egypt can also use cheap pikes, kind of like Macedon did in that last battle. But anyway, that's Parthia, a fun faction, kind of a nice mix of heavy cav and skirmishers. Obviously not so much on the infantry side, but hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.